Uncensored, no holds barred talk. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. This is the Global Reality Radio Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another live edition of the Global Reality right here on the Global Reality Radio Network. I'm your host, Josh Reeves. Thanks for being with us for another late night Moonbat edition of the broadcast. It is or was, however, Wednesday, November the 30th, now into Thursday, December the 1st, 2012, and we're here with you tonight live on the show. Wasn't here last night. I actually took the night off from the show last night. Yeah, I've been working for so many months in a row straight without a break, working on this film. And last night, my brother took us to go see one of my favorite bands, Wilco. They were in town starting their kicking off the second leg of their world tour, and they're starting in Dallas last night. And I've been seeing Wilco since '99. And, most of the time I've seen them in clubs and stuff like that. They played at the Dallas Music Hall, which is normally, it's like a big, Radio City Music Hall type place where they have, theater and all that stuff. So it's not really a place you have that kind of a band at, but it was a lot of fun. I was glad I got to get out and, I haven't been to a concert in about a year. And, that used to be something, all my whole life up until you really started doing this show that I hadn't been able to go to as many, so it was nice to be able to get out and have a night away just to go to a concert. But glad you be with us here tonight for the show. We've got some news tonight to get into during the broadcast tonight, and then we're going to also be getting into the. I'm trying. I really don't know exactly how you say this, how you pronounce this correctly. I want to make sure I get as close. I don't claim to be an English major up here, folks. I know I'm aware I butcher stuff and say stuff wrong up here all the time. I'm aware. It's not like I'm unaware of that. You don't have to send me emails. You're pronouncing that wrong. I know. I'm lucky I could even speak half the time. But anyway, this was on request. Kind of goes along with what we'd already been reading. We just got done reading the Emerald Tablets of Thoth. So tonight we're going to be continuing on in a series of reading. This is going to be the first part of our reading from the Kybalion. Kybalion, I think is how you say it. Kybalion. 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 A study of the Hermetic philosophy of ancient Egypt and Greece by 3 initiates. Supposedly, this is information pertaining to Hermes Trismegistus, the thrice born, which is also known as Thoth. And this seems to be kind of a continuation of some of the stuff that the Emerald Tablets of Thoth have talked about. Some of the stuff we read that was referenced in the Gods of Eden by William Bramley that we read earlier in the year, and also the Lost Book of Enki. So we're sort of continuing on this. I dropped a link in the chat room earlier. I'll drop another one in there so you guys, I know a lot of you guys like to follow along. John Doe's in the chat room. Yeah, you might want to snag that, buddy, because I'll probably be asking you for the page. What page are we on again, John? Like I had to last time. My website where this broadcast originates from is www.theglobalreality.com. And theglobalreality.com is my website where you can find the streams, archives, links to watch and or buy all of my documentary films. And we'll be talking about, when I give you an update here in just a minute, pertaining to the Senior Right Volume 2 and the sales of the DVDs and the Blu-rays and different packages we have. We'll talk about that in just a minute. Tomorrow is our final day of our fundraiser. Our achievement banner ends, 12, 14 hours from now. We have about 500 due for bills tomorrow. So we do need your help right now. Please donate at the website, theglobalreality.com. Use the achievement banner there. Any amount that we can get in the next 24 hours to help us meet that goal will be super. And we can pay the bills and we can be good for 2 or 3 weeks. So that's, please go there and help us meet our goal for the bills, folks, so we can stay alive and continue to work and bring you the best information that we can on this world system and on the people that claim to be the truth tellers of the world system. That's kind of the twofold job, what we do here at the Global Reality. And my newest documentary film, The Secret Volume 2, is going to, I think it's going to make a lot of headway towards that. We've made a lot of headway in 2 years since Volume 1's been released. It used to be nobody even knew what the Council for National Policy was. At least now people know what it is. The questions remain, don't they? Because of the secrecy of the group, because of who's involved in it, that whole thing. And but I'm just happy that when it's all said and done, I get to say I played a significant part along with other people in raising awareness of this. And with the newest film, The Secret Volume 2, we do talk about the CMP a bit in the film, but it doesn't concentrate on the CMP as much as the whole thing that the CMP is one big part of, and that is this ongoing massive psychological operation to steer any and all groups back towards the agenda of the elite. So, I'm really excited about doing that. We do have right now. We have officially started the sales for The Secret Right Volume 2 DVD and Blu-ray. I'm going to be sending that off sometime the next, hopefully this week. It's really not up to me though. I'm waiting on the artwork to be done by Matthew Warlick, our artist who did the artwork on Volume 1. So I'm waiting for him to be done with the art, and far be it for me to try and because I thought he understood this was, I needed this done, but it's been 4 or 5 days now and I hadn't heard anything back from him. So I'm kind of playing the waiting game, just waiting on him to be done. You can't, I'm not going to rush an artist. He will be done when he's done, kind of like me when making the film. It was done when it was going to be done. So as soon as he's done with that, I'll be sending that off. But we do have the sales going right now, theglobalreality.com/documentaries/ The Secret Right Volume 2. That's the address. But how you get there is go to my website, theglobalreality.com, go to the documentary tab, click where it says The Secret Right Volume 2. You'll see the pay-per-view player right there where you can also watch the movie if you don't want to wait to get your DVD or you want to watch a sneak peek. It'll be a slightly altered version. A few things are going to be altered in the version you'll be getting on disc. The footage, all that footage that was mirrored, flipped around, that'll all be flipped back around the correct way and extended in some cases. And the credits will be in there, all the rest of that stuff. But if you want to get an advanced viewing of the film, right there under the Secret Volume 2 tab under documentaries at my website, you can go there right now. You can pay $5. Don't pause it. Don't try to forward it or any of that stuff. It's going to negate your view, but I gave you 3 chances. I give you 3, so you get 3 views. But I haven't really had any problems. I've done a lot of refunds, but just we done refunds, and then people go, to go back and try again, and they get it through, and it's all good. But we haven't had that many problems. We had a few when it first started, but seems that people have been able to, some people have been able to watch the whole thing, some people haven't. But anyway, you can go there and watch that. But let's get back to the topic here. So when you scroll down underneath the player for the pay-per-view thing, you'll see a box that will have a whole bunch of buttons there. And I'm going to go through these with you and let you know here what we have available. I wanted to give everybody packages and have some different price points and different things you could get. We have, starting at the top, we have the regular plain Jane, just the DVD, nothing else by itself. $20. That includes all these prices, include shipping and handling. So whatever the price, there's no other hidden fees for you. There will be for me. They take all the stuff out. You go through PayPal, but so yeah, all those prices there for the DVDs reflect the shipping and handling. It's not that price that you see there plus shipping and handling like it is at a lot of websites. I hate that, don't you? So I figured I hate that because you'll go buy something and then that's it. You know what's funny? I just remembered something. It's funny. Whose videos are exactly like that? Because I remember this from when I used to be a fan of his. Alex Jones are actually that way. I remember one time when I was a fan of him, I went to go buy one of his videos, and it was, $19.95 or whatever. And then by the time I got raped by fees, it was like almost $30. I'm like, I'm not paying $30. I mean, that's a rip. Should price it how much it's going to cost, add that into the fee there. All right, sorry about that. I had to reset my microphone. And then next we have just the Blu-ray disc. Those are going to be limited edition, so we won't have too many of those. But those are going to be limited edition. Those are $30 just for the Blu-ray by itself. Again, the film is 2 hours and 48 minutes long. DVD Blu-ray combo, that's going to get you the DVD disc and the Blu-ray disc. You'll get both of those in a collection. Some Blu-rays, when you buy it, they actually come with that, because some people like to have, the Blu-ray to watch in full high def and, also have another copy that you don't have to, worry about getting messed up because the Blu-rays are expensive. So that's a copy you can use, give it as a gift or something, keep the Blu-ray for yourself and give the DVD to somebody or vice versa, however you want to do it. But you'll save $10 there getting that deal. And so instead of it being $30 for the Blu-ray and $20 for the DVD, you can get the DVD Blu-ray combo and it's going to be $40 and you'll save $10. So I try to do some stuff like that too, where, there was an incentive to get the package, it's going to save you a little money and get you something extra. I only do the stuff that I do when it comes to stuff like this. I just do the stuff that I like, and try not to do the things that drive me crazy. You know what I mean? What good is that? Something drives you crazy. Why the fuck are you going to submit somebody else to the shit that drives you crazy? You should be doing your part. I mean, I know it's a small part to contribute to society, but I mean, we have enough assholes out there already. Let's tame that down a little bit. The next package you can get is $30, and it's the research pack, and it has the DVD, and you're also going to get a data DVD for your computer. It's going to be, it won't work in a DVD player or anything like that. It's just going to be a data disc for the computer. And essentially what you're going to get is you're going to get basically a treasure trove of my research files and folders from the making of the film. You're going to get, tons and tons and tons of pictures of these people, these individuals. You're going to get clips and PDFs, and they're going to have a copy of the script in there as well. Just a bunch of stuff. It'll basically be a bunch of stuff that you can use and, further examination and kind of, because, when you're watching the film, there's so much information in there, and almost a 3-hour film, but a lot of it goes by so quickly. And as I've talked about, all the information in the film is important. It's I encourage everybody not to just let the information fly over your head and go past you too fast. So take the time to pause it and write down names. Watch it once. It's definitely, if you're going to watch it with more people than just yourself, you're going to watch it. with people, I suggest you definitely pause in certain places, and you don't want to miss anything, because every section of the film is important. I don't think there's anything in the whole film I would want anyone to miss or not see. So if you're going to watch it with a group, I'd highly suggest, you use the pause button. I highly suggest you watch it on your own after that, either before or after you watch it with a group, because it's kind of one of those things that, when you get a bunch of people in a room and everybody starts talking, you kind of get distracted from the conversation and stuff. There's just information. Every second of the film is me talking and there's information coming, So definitely, it's one of those films where you're definitely going to have to get cerebral with it and dive into it and really want to jump into the information. So I thought that by offering these packages with a lot of the source files and the stuff that I used in the film itself would be kind of a cool thing to give people, is basically the ability to have, kind of tear the film apart and have all the individual pieces at your disposal to go over. So the Research Pack DVD and Data DVD for computer, that's $30. That's up there. The next one is the Research Pack with, the only difference is it's got the Blu-ray with it. So you get the Blu-ray and the Data DVD, that's $40. And then then we have the deluxe collections. The DVD deluxe collection includes the DVD, the Data DVD, and the soundtrack CD. And that's $35. And we're going to have the Blu-ray deluxe collection with the Blu-ray, the Data DVD, and the soundtrack CD. So that's going to be $45. So you'll get, so the deluxe, the DVD deluxe editions, I think those are going to be a real big seller. I think people are really going to be into that. I think we've sold one already. So thank you, whoever you are out there who are actually bought one of the deluxe collections already. Thank you so much. And if I didn't get an email from you, I had the other night I put up a thing and said, hey, the first 10 people that email me, that pre-ordered, send me your name and your email address, all that stuff, so I can check it against my records, is going to get the Blu-ray disc. First 10 people that pre-ordered. So if you aren't one of those people that sent me an email, then you're going to receive standard the DVD deluxe collection. So everybody that pre-ordered, we stopped pre-orders back in I think September. So everybody that pre-ordered up to that, I've got them all on the list. But you guys are going to get the deluxe collection. That's a way to show my gratitude. You guys paid, I think, $25 initially, because I didn't know how much it was going to cost then. And we're going to be selling those for $35. So you guys are going to get those deluxe collections. So there you go. TheGlobalReality.com. See right Volume 2 DVD Blu-ray packages. They're up there now under the documentary tab. And please spread that around. Please let everybody know that as soon as I get the masters, or not the masters, but as soon as I get the actual physical discs in hand and we start sending those out to people, I'm going to start doing some radio shows. In fact, anybody out there, if you have a radio show and you want to have me on to promote the film, you want to have me on to discuss the film, please shoot me an email, globalrealityshow@gmail.com. That's globalrealityshow@gmail.com. You can send me an email there, and you can, if you'd like to set up an interview, you'd like to set up a time to have me come on and discuss the film and all the information, please do that. And if you do want to have me on, I will just send me your address and all your information or whatever, and I'll make sure you get a review copy of the film so you can see it before I come on. Everybody wants to know if the film's going to be for free online. It will be online for free eventually, but I've done 2 films now and spent 3 films now. And the first 2 films I made, we spent $5,000 I think on the first one, $10,000 on the second one, about $10,000 on this one. And we haven't made those amounts back. I've made $700 or $800 off of. I think I made $700 or $800 back off the Cigarette Volume 1, And the discs at that time, that cost me about that much. So I paid them about what the CDs cost, DVDs cost me to make back. So that's what put us in a situation where it took so long for Volume 2 to come out because, we didn't have, you spend money making a film and then you don't recoup anything back to make the next one. Well, where do you get to get that money from, But luckily, we have people who have been able to help us out over a period of the past year or so. And we're lucky enough to get that made. But that's what I'm trying to do this time. I'm trying to do it this way, just so we can make enough back. I mean, listen. There's no time limit on this. If this does really well, you guys help me promote this, and shit. If we start selling a bunch of discs, once it gets up to the point of what I think I need to make the next film, I'll cut it all off right there and say, look, you don't even have to buy it anymore. It's here. It's free. I'll put it all out for free. I'm not kidding about that. I'm absolutely telling the truth about it. That's all I care about. I only want to get enough. I only need the money to do another film. That's all I need it for. Thank goodness we have people out there every month that help us and contribute to our operating costs and help us stay alive that way. But like I said, I'm not just not putting this thing out for free immediately because I'm trying to be greedy or anything else of that nature at all, man. But it's like I'm trying to grow up and be smart and look at things a different way and try to do things in a more effective way that ensure that we have resources that we need to continue. Because I've just been being too nice about some things, and I've just been, whatever, throwing out these films out there without even trying to Serial Volume 1, I didn't even really promote that much. I did a couple of radio interviews. But, this film is a big step in big quantum jump, and a lot more resources went into this. And the stuff that I want to do after this, I haven't even done, in my opinion, the masterwork film I've always wanted to do yet. Serial Volume 2, I think, comes as close to that as I've gotten yet, just because the culmination of the research in this is, everything I've done over the past 2 years. I've gone over all of this information that's in this film with a fine-tooth comb for the past 2 years, and it's been a struggle for about the past year now. And plus, have the death of my father, my uncle in there earlier in the year. That really slowed me down for a few months, and got me behind and everything else. But the fact I think I need some credit for that too. I've kind of soldiered on and picked myself up and got this done, and that's why I'm so damn proud of it. But yeah, shit, man, we recoup back what I need to make the next film. It's party on, Wayne. I don't give a fuck after that. Shit, we'll give out DVDs for free. I don't know. You know what I mean? Fuck it. Seriously, I'm not joking about that. That's I just want to continue to be able to do more and to not stop. You want me to go through the list of the fucking movies that I want to make, that I have got on the menu to make, that I've already got literally scripts and research done on? I've got like 3 or 4 films, dude, that are like waiting to be made. The Rock Wall film, which I want to do next. The Cult History of Music movie that I want to do. The Hidden Knowledge film. I've got, a bunch on the burner that I want to do. But like I said, it's just after doing this since 2007, that's when I made my first film, and being on the air since 2007, it's just kind of become time to start trying to do some things in a way where, where at least I don't think that's asking a lot. I don't think that I'm asking a lot of people to, just want to recoup back what we spent on this one so we can make another one. I don't think that's asking too much. But for some people, it's just they just want. And it's always never the people that contribute to you that ever say these things. It's always people who don't fucking contribute a dime, probably to anybody or anything other than their own fucking personal self, that say, put the movie out for free, put it out for free now. I'm not paying anything. Fuck you. That's what you're gonna get, is a big fuck you. You want to see it? Pay. That's all there is to it. Because I'm on a mission and I'm not fucking around here, and I've got to continue. That's all there is to it. So again, theglobalrouter.com. Go there and check that out. And also, please help us meet our goal. We got the chipping banner coming up due very shortly, so we had to get those bills paid. Let's see. I think I had a few emails. This one's from Chad. It says, "Hey Josh, what's up, bro? Hope you had a good Thanksgiving." I did. It was I didn't talk about that earlier in the week, but yeah, I did. Thank you. Spending with my family. It was it was kind of weird. It was not the same without my dad there, but it was good. I can't wait to check out the Secret Vault Right Volume 2 later today. But man, I was wondering if you've ever heard of a guy named Mike Hoggard. No, I have not. He's a Baptist preacher, if I remember right. But dude, you have got to check this dude out. If not, he has some stuff up on YouTube. Check out the Babel Conspiracy and the Mother of All Secrets. I think you'll find it pretty fascinating if you have a chance. I know you're very busy. Can't wait for the next late night Moonbat session. Talk to you later. All right. Thanks, Chad. I'll try to do that. Let's see what else we have. This is from Ben. He says, "Hey, Josh, I just recently discovered your show. And yeah, I'm impressed. I've been trying for a while to find a different media outlet to listen to besides Alex Jones. Plus, I need to get a fresh look at things since AJ tends to be like one of my granny's bad soap operas. After skipping the show for a month, you could tune in for one day and be all caught up. He tends to repeat the same shit and regurgitate all the same info repeatedly." Absolutely. It definitely took a little while getting used to your delivery, especially the normal talk, cussing, but I think it shows you're not out to sugarcoat the. Yeah, I mean, that's the only reason I could be on. So you understand? I could be on a big radio station. I've been on FM stations. I've been on Clear Channel stations. Big flamethrower stations. But I always felt like a phony. All those times when I was doing my show and I wasn't saying the things I wanted to say and I was censoring myself, and I just felt like a phony. I felt like, how can I get up here in front of this microphone and talk about free speech and talk about, being real and being yourself and all this stuff and not be real or be myself or not, this sanitized version or this sanitized idea of media, programmed idea of media of what someone, presenting or talking about information is supposed to be. Fuck that. Who cares about that? Why does that matter? I mean, if you're listening, I don't know. I just can never trust listening to someone that talks like this and all stuffy and yes, and all proper. It's like, do you talk like that normally in your everyday life? Yes, honey. Who was it was it Carlin that had a joke like that? Or Richard Pryor? I can't remember who it was. It was some comedian. Talking about, these guys. Yes, honey, I'm going to penetrate you now. That's nice. Yes. Is that how you talk all the time? I mean, I don't know, man. I got to be myself. Otherwise, it's just not worth doing. But it shows you're not have to sugarcoat the information in your message and just tell it like it is. And I love it. Well, thank you. Of course, I don't totally agree with you with all you have to say. I'm definitely not going to bust your balls or nitpick. But today I listened to your October 11th show and you made the statement on not voting. Not for Ron Paul or anyone. My problem with that is it's pretty much what the general public has been doing for years. Not voting, not paying attention. No, I don't agree with that statement whatsoever. That's not true whatsoever. I think you're trying to represent a small portion of the people. No. I'm not talking about ignoring what's going on, Ben. I'm not talking about sticking your fucking head in the sand like a goddamn ostrich and ignoring the whole thing. Oh, fuck it, man. Being apathetic. Oh, fuck it. I'm not going to. Obviously, you didn't listen to my words too much. Tell you what you need to do, Ben. If you want a little refresher course, go hit up YouTube and just type in. I'll tell you what to type in. Type in Josh Reeves, The Hypocrisy of Voting. Josh Reeves, The Hypocrisy of Voting. Listen to that. And that's a pretty good explanation of it. Here's the deal. I understand what you're saying. That, that sort of, you had an apathetic public. You've had people that have plugged into, video games or plugged into the internet or whatever have you, whatever distracts you, plugged into sports. Because I used to be, when I was younger, a teenager or whatever, that's how I was. I didn't like political stuff at all. So I'd bring up politics. Oh, boring. I'd yawn. Who gives a fuck? But what I'm talking about is participation in the system. This idea that we're programmed with is heavily. This whole lie, this meme that's a total and utter mind control lie of, if you don't vote, you don't have a say. No, if you vote, you don't have a say. You made your choice. You made your decision. Now shut the fuck up. Every time you go to that ballot box and you make a vote for Daffy Duck, Donald Duck, it doesn't matter who the fuck it is. You write in a candidate. People don't understand that even that's bad. You are validating to them that their system as it stands is okay with you, even though it's flawed and you have problems with it. But that's exactly what they want. They want you to either full-blown worship it or be 100% totally against it. So long as you're picking a side. So I don't call for people to be apathetic about the political landscape or information or anything else, ever. But non-participation in their system is the only thing that is ever going to bring that system down. And look, you've got to get out of this headspace and that's what the headspace they want to keep you in. That's what Ron Paul does. That's what Alex Jones does. They keep you in this headspace and in this mind control operation that America and itself and the United States is really not bad. But we just have some bad people in there that are running the show and all this. What we need to do, if we can get those people out and get our people in, and our people stand for, Constitution, Bill of Rights and freedoms and guns and white people and, then we'll be doing all right. The problem is that we have to get out no, that's a lie. See, the whole goddamn thing is a control mechanism, is a control system. In order for those existing problems to go away, that whole system itself has to go away. But that's exactly what these guys are designed to do. They're good cops. Ron Paul and Dennis Kucinich, they're good cops. They're there to not make it look like the total wash that it is. They have to have these guys in there that appear to be populist sympathizers that are also so extreme they push people right back into voting and right back into that controlled system. He goes on to say that I do strongly agree, though, that when we don't vote, it doesn't matter much. They will put in whoever they want regardless. Now, here's my point. If we were to all back Ron Paul, who is running on the platform of small government, tax cuts, in the wars, and pretty much every grievance the public has with our current system, if he were to get Ron Paul into office and then he toes the line like you were saying he would, probably he does the part of the system, wouldn't that truly awakening the American consciousness of what's really going on? No, that's, come on, Ben. Think about it, dude. We're way past that. I might have agreed with that statement if I was alive and looking at this stuff 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago. But at this point in the game, look at how people defend. You have people out there that would defend George Bush at every turn. The guy could do no wrong, even though in broad daylight he's, bringing male prostitutes in and he's lying about the war and all the rest. I mean, on and on and on and on. But there were still people out there, no matter how much evidence, that were still loved him. Well, that's exactly what would happen if Ron Paul got elected. All his brainwashed minions and Alex Jones drones, same thing. I mean, Ron Paul could be out there burning copies of the Constitution on the White House lawn, and these guys will still go, oh, well, that's okay. He just can't He just can't publicly say that he doesn't want to burn the Constitution. He's got to publicly make it look like he wants to burn it. That's all he's doing. He's doing that for our freedoms. I mean, that's what people say. They literally say shit out of Ron Paul now. Oh, well, he can't come out about 9/11 because he's got to toe the line and make it look legit. Yeah, that's what they want you to believe, dude. How do you know you can't trust Ron Paul? Because he's a politician. And the sooner that we understand that anyone who is a politician is not our friend, not our compatriot, not our teammate, the politicians and the people that are allowed to be in power and be allowed to participate in this system are the problem. As long as we continue to say to them, yes, we accept your system. Yes, we know it has flaws, but we're going to, that's what they want, just so it perpetuates itself. So you're not, look, there is no, in any way, shape, or form, good thing that could come out of Ron Paul being elected. And what it's going to do, it's going to, because people are just going to do the same thing. They're not going to care. That's not going to wake up the American people. Oh, well, he's just like the rest. No. People will make excuses for it, and then anybody that says anything about it will just be called a Ron Paul hater or a liberal. That's what they always do. But I'll tell you this, for God's sakes, whatever happens, if New World Order Gingrich gets elected, run. Oh, Jesus Christ. I'm hopping in a fucking pontoon boat or something, or a goddamn canoe, or I'm going to jump the fucking river, or fucking go to Canada or something, sneak across it. I don't know. But if that son of a bitch gets fucking elected, man, you thought Obama was bad. Christ. It's time to head for the fucking hills. If and when he shows that it's a new boss, same as the old boss scenario, what more could you ask for? It's a win-win situation. I don't agree with that. This subtly veiled way of, that sounds like Anthony J. Hilder was saying on that fucking interview with him I did in 2008 that's in Secret Right Volume 2. That motherfucker tried to say that he made those race baiting flyers that he made of Adam Clayton Powell and RFK being on the same ticket were actually his attempt to discourage Bobby Kennedy not to run because he cared about him, because he thought he was going to get killed. Bullshit, man. Is he trying to tell me the strategy to defeat Ron Paul is to actually let him get elected? Oh, come on, dude. I mean, I'm not saying you're coming up with that, Ben. I'm not saying, I'm not saying you're trying to push that on me. I'm just saying the idea of that, you would never get me to buy into that in a million years. Okay. And I don't think you get a lot of other people to buy into that either. That's horse shit. That sounds like something the Jones camp cooked up. Let's get Ron Paul elected as a strategy so that he'll defeat himself. Thanks for playing. I'm not down for that at all. Because again, we're still validating that system. We got to say to these people once and for all that we don't care if it's Ron Paul or Newt Gingrich or Barack Obama or Bill Clinton or whoever else, that their system only represents and only takes care of the same people it always has and was designed for, the white aristocratic landowners. That's it. And that's what Ron Paul and Alex Jones and all these guys are there to try and continue on. They're all connected to white supremacist movements, white nationalist movements, 18 Ways to Sunday. And if you really want to know the truth, it's there if you find it. I think my new film's going to give you a lot of leeway. But yeah, you'll never get me to buy into, let's get Ron Paul elected as a strategy to defeat him. I mean, that's goofy as hell, man. If he actually does what he promises and we're better off and we're put on road to real reform, that's crap, dude. I'm sorry. If Ron Paul toes the line and all the people will be forced to see the government for what it really is, a corrupt system, The guy, even if he got elected, wouldn't you? Do you think since when has number one has a politician ever done anything what they said they were going to do? Never. But yeah, Ben, listen, man, you want to go vote for Ron Paul? Go do it. That's what it sounds like to me. It sounds like you're trying to convince me when you don't got to convince me, man. If that's what you want to go do, by all means, don't let me stop you. If you think that's your only course and your only chance to get anything changed is to go to vote for Ron Paul, then go do it. But that's what it kind of sounded like to me. It kind of sounded like he's trying to get me to make him feel better about voting for Ron Paul. Look, man, do what you want to do. Don't let me stop you. I would encourage you, though, to think about this idea of putting in people that again reinforce and back up the ideas of the system. That's indeed what Ron Paul does at every turn. With the things I've seen, the people he's involved with, I mean, my God. It's, especially he's involved with the John Birch Society. I get into Ron Paul a little bit at the end of the new film. Okay, I think that's all the email we've got. Again, if you want to send in an email anytime, Global Reality Show @gmail.com. That's Global Reality Show @gmail.com. That's my email address. Let's see what we have here in the news. This is interesting. We talked the other night about the strange timing of this Sirhan article, information coming out with now his lawyer and whatnot saying, he was definitely under mind control. We really got to get a copy of my new film to his lawyer, man. But I just thought it was interesting. One of the other topics we talked about in there heavily is psychological operations, mind control, the satanic cults, and that whole thing that was happening in the 1980s, right around the time when Jeff Gannon was abducted, or Johnny Gosch, when he was Johnny Gosch. But yeah, the whole Satanist thing, Michael Aquino was in it. That whole thing was a part of a massive psychological warfare operation to get people to get their kids fingerprinted, DNA, all that stuff. I remember, man. I was a kid when that happened, and I remember how it went from used to be no problems, whatever. I mean, you could stay out till past dark as long as you were close to the house, and then all of a sudden Johnny Gosch got abducted, and it was like everybody was on fear lockdown. Your parents wouldn't let you go too many streets over. I mean, I remember it, man. People were afraid that satanic child molesting killers were around every corner, and the media reinforced that, and they got behind the milk carton thing. It was a massive psyop. And there are some news reports coming out now that back up 100% of that information that I've talked about in the new film here, and also give us a lot more evidence that this is indeed a part of a massive psychological operation. Listen to this. This comes to us from ABC News. Therapist brainwashed woman into believing that she was in a satanic cult. A psychologist accused of hypnotizing a woman into believing she possessed multiple personalities and participated in satanic rituals may be sued by several others who say they were also told that they had been a part of a satanic cult, according to a Missouri attorney. Lisa Nasa, 41, of St. Paul, Minnesota, is suing her former therapist, Mark Schwartz, in the Castlewood Treatment Center in St. Louis, Missouri, where she received 15 months of treatment for anorexia, according to the complaint. Now, listen, this woman goes in for anorexia, and they end up telling her that she was part of a satanic cult, that she killed babies, and was absolutely not true. This is massive psyop stuff going on here. And, of course, the responsible party seems to be none other than one of these head-shrinking psychologists who's nothing more than a pimp and a crony for the medical industrial complex, who gets paid to push scripts on people instead of actually giving them some kind of help. I mean, you pump somebody full of fucking these serotonin uptake inhibitors and pump them full of fucking these antipsychotic drugs, man, you can make them believe any fucking thing you want them to believe. Instead of improving, the lawsuit alleges that Nassif suffered great physical pain and suffering and anguish during her time at the facility and asserts that she will continue to suffer. She was hospitalized multiple times. Her lawyer told ABCnews.com one time she tried to commit suicide. She's done much better now that she's been away from there. The complaint alleges that Nassif's therapist, Mark Schwartz, carelessly and negligently hypnotized her while she was under the influence of various psychotropic medications. There you go. Yeah, how'd I know that? I just happened to be that all this hypnotic stuff's going on while she's under the influence of psychotropic drugs. Yeah, of course. Christ, go in for fucking anorexia and you come out on Paxil and Zoloft thinking you were in a satanic cult? Christ, man. It's like going in for a fucking root canal and coming out with a fucking amputated leg. The hypnosis allegedly created false memories, including the belief that she was a member of a satanic cult and that she was involved in or perpetrated in various criminal and horrific acts of abuse. Now, I've heard many people say for a lot of years that a lot of this satanic cult stuff, and I believe it more now after researching my newest film and the stuff I found out about Michael Aquino and Paul Vallely and the whole mind war operations and the direct connections to the Patriot movement, the Truth movement, and Alex Jones that those guys have. And in that Geraldo clip I have in the film is very telling towards that, too. You've got a Jesuit priest, Michael Aquino, and fucking Ted Gunderson on Geraldo all at the same time talking about Satanism and how they can't find the Satanists. And I'm sitting there going, the Satanists are on the goddamn stage right now. You know? But that's been their whole trick. And I think that, it's been, a lot of people have speculated also that the alien abduction phenomenon is actually a part of that same psychological warfare operation, that they've tricked people into believing that they've been abducted when they haven't. Or they've actually been abducted by government agents, and then they've been, planted with the memories that they were on some alien ship and aliens were working on them, when actually what was happening is, they were in some government lab. But that's what they're talking about here, creating false memories, including the belief that she was a member of a satanic cult and that she was involved in or perpetrated various criminal and horrific acts of abuse. One of those acts included sacrificing her sister's baby on an altar of Satan. Nassif was in a highly vulnerable physical and mental state due to her pre-existing eating disorder, according to the complaint. I mean, this is just unbelievable. This guy's done this to multiple people. Tricking these poor. What is the tactical advantage of this? The only advantage of doing that, of trying to convince someone who is coming in for treatment for anorexia and putting them under hypnosis and planting false memories in their head, that is absolutely criminal. Planting false memories in their heads of being a part of this satanic stuff. Why would they do that? That's trauma-based mind control. Oh my God, they made me believe that I sacrificed babies and I was in a satanic cult. Yeah, but aren't you, but you're not anorexic anymore, are you, bitch? No, actually, I'm not. I actually weigh 450 pounds now. Well, we got a fucking weight loss thing for that too. It's called Snuff Film at Bohemian Grove. Yeah, we'll plug that one in you next. Now, the good news is I'm not anorexic anymore. The bad news is I'm now a satanic baby sacrificing devil worshiper. Yeah, great. It's like it's like those fucking drug commercials you hear. Stay hard dick pills. But if you use them, your cock may fall off, your asshole might fall out, your eyeballs might be sewn shut in your sleep. I mean, it's just fucking, side effect after side effect. The side effects are more than what the actual thing you're trying to cure is. It's fucking out of control. Oh, let's see what else we got here tonight. Oh, this is great. You guys might have heard of this. This came out early last week. I think it was, right before Thanksgiving, 21st. This was a pretty big news story, but I want to cover it nonetheless because I just have questions about this. So this fisherman, he's one of those big, big commercial fishermen with the big nets. And he, over the last 4 years has purchased 15 permits, gone through all the proper channels to be able to fish for tuna. Not because he actually fishes for tuna, but because the depth at which he drags his nets for the fish that he catches for commercial use. Sometimes, every once in a while, on a blue moon, you might have a big tuna come across, and if you catch it, that's big money. And so this guy went through all the proper channels, got all the right permits, everything that he thought he had to do, everything that they told him he had to do, he did, jumped through the hoops. And boom, that magic scenario happens. They're out dragging their nets one day, and boy, did they get something. They got something they weren't expecting. Not only did they get a big tuna and big something they could sell and get big money for, they got a bluefin tuna that weighed 800 pounds. 800 pounds. This thing is a fucking monster. 754-pound specimen. Or actually 800-pound plus specimen, a 754-pound specimen last year at a Tokyo auction sold for $396,000. So this guy probably had close to a $500,000 fish on his hands, maybe more. Just mad crazy for that shit in Japan. So this guy's probably looking at, my God, $500,000. That's a retirement fund. He's probably going to put 2 or 3 of his kids through school, right? And this was all by sheer accident, but he had gone through the hoops and bought the permits and all this stuff. He gets up to the shore and gets back with the fish. And lo and behold, as he gets to the shore, ladies and gentlemen, right when he gets to the dock, boom, there's authorities waiting on him. There's agent from the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration's Office of Law Enforcement. Now, wait a minute. Normally in these kind of things, you got parks and recreation, you've got game wardens, but they brought out agents from. Now, how did they know that this guy was coming back with this fish? How did they get this information? How were they able to be waiting on him? And not only that, not just game wardens or anything else, but NOAA, the National Oceanic Atmospheric Administration. Those guys are dirty as hell. They work in high-level black ops, man. They work in conjunction with DARPA, Department of Energy, all these groups. Pure black ops. So as soon as they get there, they grab this guy's fish and say, we're confiscating this. And he's like, no, you're not confiscating this. I've got permits. I've bought these permits for the past 4 years. I've jumped through all the hoops. Here it is. It's legit. And they said, okay, well, guess what? We're just going to say that, oh, we're sorry. We didn't tell you for the past 4 years when you were jumping through the hoops and buying all these permits you needed. We didn't bother to tell you that these permits that we told you had to buy in case you got one of these, prize tunas that would sell for $500,000 in Japan. Yeah. Well, we forgot to tell you that that only counts if you caught that fish on a rod and reel. Now, I don't know. I've been out there I've been out there on the boats. I've had family members who've been out there on big boats. I'm sure there probably is one, all the technology we have. Even with the big deep sea rods, and I'm aware the big deep sea rods have much, they're huge and they bolt on and, they have the straps on them like in Jaws and they got the big line. But dude, I don't know if it's even possible to bring in an 800-pound fish on a rod and reel. That's going to be close to impossible. So guess what happens? The federal government took this fish, confiscated it, and they are now going to auction it off to Japan themselves and keep the proceeds. I mean, these motherfuckers are not even being any kind of sneaky about this stuff anymore, folks. They're just straight up walking up and just robbing whoever they want to rob at any point. I mean, it's the fucking Wild West all over again. They just roll up. I mean, this guy's got a prize on his hands, jump through all their hoops. He could have been out there for years doing illegal fishing with illegal lines, catching illegal bluefin tuna and selling them motherfuckers over to fucking Japan for $500K a pop, dude, all day long. But this guy, another one of these, and that's the problem with everybody. And I used to always get in arguments with that about my dad, because my dad was one of those guys, he was like, you got to follow the rules. You got to do what they tell you to do, and you got to jump through the hoops, and they tell you got to have 50 permits to fish in this one area. Well, then by God, you got to get 50 permits. My dad was all real big on that, And I was always like, man, fuck these people. Number one, you shouldn't have to have permission to do anything on land that taxpayer money's already paid for. But just this whole idea that, that's the rules, that, they don't give a fuck about that. They're not following that kind of code or rule, but they want you to follow it. That's the problem. These guys in charge aren't following the rules. You know what I mean? They set laws and rules and everything for you to follow, slave. But we up here, we're not going to follow that same code of rules. So they just came in and said, you know what? This guy's got a big fish. I mean, how did they hear about this? They must have people, plants or people waiting or something that, if one of these fish like this is caught, they send in one of their government agents. Government agent comes in, flashes a badge, and says some gobbledygook about codes and policies and permits and all this stuff. Government confiscates the fish, takes it, auctions it, sells it off, pays off their mole or their front man a little cut, and boom, they pocket the rest. I don't know, this is just one example, but to me, it's just a striking example of how, if you think your hard work or whatever else entitles you to anything, it doesn't, man. These motherfuckers will come up and straight rob you of what's yours. I mean, it just is unbelievable that that the United States has finally, we've seen it coming for a lot of years, but we have definitely finally degenerated into that, Italian and Russian and just gangster style government. That's why, this idea of entertaining, some strategy, let's have a strategy to get Ron Paul elected, and then when he doesn't do shit, then it'll wake everybody up. That's a bad strategy, man. And that's a lot of what ifs and a lot of risks and a lot of, this and that and the other. That's just, no. Two skeletons dating back nearly 2 million years appear to have a coating of skin on their bones in a world first that would offer scientists a unique insight into their lifestyles and DNA of our ancestors. Oh, this could be big. They're going to do some DNA tests on this shit in the skin and go, here, guys. We found something strange. Yeah. Found something strange, huh? I bet you did. They are two of the most complete skeletons of early human relatives ever found and were donated to the Natural History Museum in London today by the University of Witwatersrand and the government of the Republic of South Africa. The 1.9 million-year-old fossils from Malapa Cave in South Africa have been the scientific name for Australopithecus sedialba and have been studied by Professor Lee Berger at the Institute for Human Evolution at Wits University. Soft tissue has never been found on an early human being before. Should it be present, then it may be possible for scientists to study its DNA and protein and make a huge leap forward in understanding how our ancestors lived. I think this is going to be one of those revelations, if we end up hearing about it all. So, put it to you like this. If we hear about it at all, which it's questionable to me whether we will or not. But if we hear about it at all, it'll be definitely to serve the greater agenda. But if we don't hear anything else about this, that means that whatever they found would be too damning for them to tell the general public about. And that's probably what it's going to do. They're going to go, oh, wait a minute here. This doesn't fit our timeline. What's going on here? Let's see what else we got. Laptop and Wi-Fi said to nuke sperm. Yeah, I've had a laptop on my lap for like 5 minutes before, and literally I felt like my boys were getting cooked. I don't put those fucking things in my lap. Put them on a table. Put them somewhere else. I've done it. I've done it for like 5 minutes before, and if swear to God, I feel like my boys were getting cooked. New study shows U.S. government fails to oversee treatment of foster children with mind-altering drugs. Yeah, not a big shocker here. They're literally now they're coming out with this. They've been pumping these foster kids full of fucking antipsychotics and pumping them full of all kinds of mind-altering drugs that they don't even need. I mean, they declared war on us a long time ago, and we're still walking around thinking we're free and still thinking we have a say in things. That's why I can't even, sorry to keep harping on it, but that whole shit earlier with that email, nothing against you, Ben. Please don't get mad at me. Think I'm talking down to you or reflects poorly on you. It's not anything against you, my friend. It's just, with the stuff that I know, man, it's just that the whole idea that, some strategy to get Ron Paul elected so we can, it's just eating at me because it's just such horseshit. The U.S. government settled suit over anthrax attacks. Now they're seeking to destroy all the information pertaining to this. I bet they are, considering that the initial investigation. Why do you think you never heard anything else about those anthrax attacks? Because whenever they started doing investigating and finding and digging into it, all of the specimens of the anthrax traced back to government bioweapons facilities. So they shut it down and killed the story and swept it under the rug. Well, now there seems to have reached a settlement in the cases of some of the victims, and now the government wants all of the files and documents from the hearings either sealed under court order or destroyed. Now, I mean, again, what's the old statement? Truth fears no question. If that anthrax doesn't trace back to government bioweapons labs, then why do we need to keep the court documentation under lock and key or destroyed? Again, obviously, it's because we know that these anthrax attacks were sent by our government, by the Bush administration. Now, the Bush administration, I don't think was single-handedly behind the attacks of 9/11, and Bush and Condi and Dick Cheney sitting around a room talking about flying airplanes into buildings. That's just ridiculous. But the anthrax things, yeah, that that definitely could have been something that was cooked up by the administration, but it definitely did trace back to government bioweapons facilities. The federal government has agreed to pay $2.5 million to the widow and children of the first person killed in the anthrax letter attacks of 2001, settling a lawsuit claiming that the Army did not adequately secure its supply of the deadly pathogen. The settlement with the family of Robert Stevens, a tabloid photo editor in Florida, follows an 8-year legal battle that exposed slack rules and sloppy record keeping at the Army's Biodefense Laboratory at Fort Detrick in Frederick, Maryland. As a part of the agreement, Justice Department lawyers are seeking to have any documents that were uncovered in the litigation kept under court seal or destroyed. Mr. Stevens' widow, Maureen, filed suit against the government in 2003 as evidence accumulated that the anthrax powder and the lethal letters had come from an Army laboratory. The FBI finally concluded in 2008 that the letters were sent by Bruce E. Ivins, a microbiologist who worked on anthrax vaccines at the Army lab in Maryland, though some of his colleagues and friends have maintained that he was innocent. Dr. Ivans killed himself, allegedly killed himself. It sounds like they suicided him and scapegoated him and made him into an Oswald. Mr. Ivans died in 2008 as prosecutors prepared to indict him in the attacks in which letters, because they weren't going to let this guy testify. They swept this up nice and cleaned it up nice and put out the cover story like they always do, folks. It's business as usual for these guys. In which letters were sent to media organizations and 2 senators in September and October of 2001, killing 5 people and sickening at least 17 others. The letters prompted fear nationwide, forced members of Congress and the Supreme Court from contaminated buildings and set off a long and troubled investigation by the FBI. So, yeah, they will destroy all the documentation, of course. Destroy all the evidence and ties it back to them. I mean, you want to talk about, let's get Ron Paul elected as a strategy to wake people up when he fails miserably, in broad daylight. But yet, we've got a general public completely apathetic to the fact that the United States government attacks itself and regularly to blame it on its enemies, and attacks its people to blame it on its enemies. If we get Ron Paul elected, is everybody going to wake up to that fact overnight? Hell fucking no. So fuck Ron Paul right in his dirty shithole like the rest of those politicians. Kick him out the goddamn door, and let's let the people take over this motherfucker. Until the people have the power and we kick these bloodline son of bitches out of here, we're never going to be free. Oh man, oh man, oh man. Yeah, this is another one of those knee slappers. Mayor Bloomberg calls NYPD my own army. New York City Mayor Michael Bloomberg said the New York Police Department was like his own personal military force. During a speech at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, according to Politicker in New York. Well, of course it is. Of course it's his own personal military force. Michael Bloomberg is Sovereign Military Order of Malta. He can operate just like any other Knight of Malta in any country in the world and do anything free of laws because he is doing it under the charge of the Vatican and the priest class. He's a Knight of Malta, a soldier for the Vatican. So, of course, he views his police force as his own personal military force. That's pretty much what it is. Well, you're just getting more and more arrogant every day, aren't they? But you know what? That arrogance, that's what's going to be their undoing, I believe. All right, I think I'm about done with the news for tonight. We're going to get into the Cabalion tonight. Cabalion, however you say that. Get into that here in just a bit. Again, my website where this broadcast originates from is www.theglobalreality.com. That's www.theglobalreality.com. And you can order your copies now of The Secret Rot Volume 2. They are for sale right now as we speak. DVDs, Blu-rays, all the different. Back here with you on the Global Reality, right here on the Global Reality Radio Network. I'm your host, Josh Reeves. Thanks for being here with us tonight for another live edition of the show. We are going to be getting into a new series of reading tonight, the Cabalion. We'll be starting that here in just a minute. And but there's another news story I want to cover. I forgot. I want to get into here with you in just a bit. Again, my website, theglobalreality.com. It's www.theglobalreality.com. My newest documentary film, The Secret Rot Volume 2. You can now buy copies of that. And we're going to have those here in the next couple of weeks. I'm going to be sending that off as soon as the art is done. Hopefully it'll be done this week. And We'll be getting those shipped out. The pre-orders will get shipped out first, and then a few days after that, we'll get the other orders that come in from now until then out for you as well. And there's all kinds of packages up there. Just go to the documentary tab at my website. Scroll down to where it says The Secret Right Volume 2. Click on that. Once you get on that page, you'll see the pay-per-view $5 viewer there. You can pay $5 and view it and watch it instantaneously. And then scroll down below that, and you'll see all the buttons there for the packages. It's also our fundraising week. We have 19 hours left on our chip-in banner. We have about 500 for our goal to pay the bills of the month that are due tomorrow. So, again, please help us meet that goal sometime in the next 19 hours there. TheGlobalReality.com. Please use the chip-in banner and help us stay alive and help us be able to continue, folks. And we can't do it without you. We don't have any outside funding for my work here. We don't have any sponsors. We don't have any outside benefactors, nothing. Just our listening audience. That's it. And if you guys don't come through for us, we don't survive. We don't get to continue to do this. So please help us out and support. There are a lot of you out there that aren't pulling your weight. I mean, our listenership and our numbers and, how many emails I get. I look at how many emails I get from questions and comments and everything else, and then I notice that I don't get donations from those same email addresses. You know what I'm saying? It's like we're getting, we got 5 or 6 people donating, but yet we're getting 50 to 100 different email messages a day. So that means that, we got a small amount of people donating, yet a huge amount of people listening that, it's not proportionate to the people out there who are obviously enjoying the show and getting something from it, but not supporting us financially. So definitely need to chip in and help out everybody else here with the weight of keeping us going. Okay, here we go. The Kamaleon. We'll start out here with the introduction. Oh, I had another news story I want to cover. I forgot about that. Expert says Mexico glyphs don't predict apocalypse. At least that is according to a German expert who says his decoding of a Mayan tablet with a reference to a 2012 date denotes a transition to a new era and not a possible end of the world as others have read it. Yeah, that's what the most widely accepted interpretation of what it says is that, yeah, it's it's the end of the known world. The world as we know it ends in some sort of new world. That's why the idea of us, moving into a different dimension and existing as fourth dimensional beings instead of three-dimensional beings seems like the most plausible scenario, but that doesn't even mean that it's going to happen. From what my research has shown me, is that everybody, all the people that say nothing's going to happen on 2012 is just going to be like Y2K. I think ultimately all those people are going to be right, but not just because there's nothing to this 2012 thing, and just it not just be to downplay all that. That's what they want you to believe. They want you to think it's all phony and it's bullshit. Nothing's going to happen anyway. That's what they want you to think. They also want you to think that it's going to be the end of the world and all this other crazy stuff. But if you look at the evidence, ladies and gentlemen, the evidence points in the direction that what may happen, what could happen, if we weren't having all of our food and water and our atmosphere and everything pumped full of all these DNA changing chemicals and everything else, is that we would, the end of the known world as we know it would end. Calendar dates would end. We would exist in a dimension in which time would not be perceived the same way it is to us now. And that is exactly what would happen if we were to take on a form in another dimension. But MSG and fluoride and all of this stuff, aspartame, it all keeps your DNA from resonating at the proper frequencies. So ultimately, ideally, what the powers that be want is they want 2012 to be a non-event. If they get their way, that's what will happen. It will be a non-event. Because they will have succeeded at changing and altering our DNA to the point to where the known world that they control and is the only thing they can control goes away. Think about it. Folks, these people, their only Their only plan and goal in life is to make sure that the power structure and the whole thing perpetuates itself and continues. That's it. And that's why they've been pushing this whole myth of the end of the world when that's never what it said. Anything but what the real truth may be. Gronemeyer has been studying the stone tablet found years ago at the archaeological site of Tortuguero in Mexico's coast state of Tabasco. He said the inscription describes the return of mysterious Mayan god Bolon Yokti at the end of a 13 period of 400 years known as Bactans on the equivalent of December 21st, 2012. Mayans considered 13 a sacred number. There's nothing apocalyptic in the date, he said. The text was carved about 1,300 years ago. The stone has cracked, which has made the end of the passage almost illegible. Gronemeyer said the inscription refers to the end of a cycle of 5,125 years since the beginning of the Mayan long count calendar in 3,113 BC. The fragment was a prophecy of then ruler Bahim Ajah, who wanted to plan the passage of God. For the elite of Tortuguero, it was clear that they had to prepare the land for the return of the god and for Baham Ajah to be the host of this initiation, he said. Bolon Yokte, god of creation and war, was to prevail that day in a sanctuary of Tortuguero. The date acquired a symbolic value because it is seen as a reflection of the day of creation. It is the passage of a god and not necessarily a great leap for humanity. Last week, Mexico's National Institute of Anthropology said a second inscription mentioning the 2012 date is carved or molded on a face of brick at the Comacalco ruin near the Tortuguero site and is being kept at the Institute and is not on display. Imagine that. Won't let anybody see it. Yeah, they're going to come out with this, this item saying guess what? We found another date that says December 21st, 2012 on it. Uh-oh. Better shit yourself with fear now. We've got 2 pieces of evidence to back this up. But guess what? We're not going to let you see it. Just like Jonesy and his secret documents, you can't see it. Folks, trust us, it's the truth, but you can't see the documents, folks. We got them, but you can't see them, folks. Many experts doubt the second inscription is a definite reference to the date, cited as a possible end of the world, saying there's no future tense, making there the Tortuguero tablet, blah, blah, blah. So there you go. Yeah. Tell you this, folks, galactic alignment. That's what you should focus on. Not whether the world's going to end or anything else. Focus on galactic alignment. Find out as much about it as you can. That's a verifiable, real thing that happens right around the time of December 21st, 2012. It's a cyclical thing that happens, and yes, it is known to cause, changes on the planet when it occurs. But study up on a galactic alignment. Find out how you can, what things you can do to ride the crest of that energy or to use that energy for a positive thing, not to manifest this energy into, doom and gloom and destruction. That's exactly what they want to happen. Okay, the Kabbalion introduction. We take great pleasure in presenting to the attention of students and the investigators of the secret doctrines this little work based upon the world-old Hermetic teachings. There has been so little written upon this subject, notwithstanding the countless references to the teachings and the many works upon occultism, that the many earnest searchers after the arcane truths will doubtless welcome the appearance of this present volume. The purpose of this work is not the enunciation of any special philosophy or doctrine, but rather it is to give the students a statement of the truth that will serve to reconcile the many bits of occult knowledge that they may have acquired, but which are apparently opposed to each other and which often serve to discourage and disgust the beginner in the study. Our intent is not to erect a new temple of knowledge, but rather to place in the hands of the student a master key, which he may open the many inner doors in the temple of mystery through the main portals he has already entered. There is no portion of the occult teachings possessed by the world which have been so closely guarded as the fragments of the Hermetic teachings which have come down to us over the tens of centuries which have elapsed since the lifetime of its great founder, Hermes Trismegistus, the scribe of the gods, who dwelt in old Egypt in the days when the present race of men was in its infancy. Contemporary with Abraham, and if the legends be true, an instructor of that venerable sage Hermes was, and is, the great central sun of occultism, whose rays have served to illumine the countless teachings which have been promulgated since his time. All the fundamental and basic teachings embedded in the esoteric teachings of every race may be traced back to Hermes. Even the most ancient teachings of India undoubtedly have their roots in original Hermetic teachings. From the land of the Ganges, many advanced occultists wandered to the land of Egypt and sat at the feet of the master. From him they obtained the master key, which explained and reconciled their divergent views, and thus the secret doctrine was firmly established. From other lands also came the learned ones, all of whom regarded Hermes as the master of masters, and his influence was so great that in spite of the many wanderings from the path on the part of the centuries of teachers in these different lands, there may still be found a certain basic resemblance and correspondence which underlies the many and often quite divergent theories entertained and taught by the occultists of these different lands today. The student of comparative religions will be able to perceive the influence of the Hermetic teachings in every religion worthy of the name, now known to man, whether it be a dead religion or one in full vigor in our own times. There is always certain correspondence in spite of the contradictory features, and the Hermetic teachings act as the great reconciler. The life work of Hermes seems to have been in the direction of planting the great seed truth, which has grown and blossomed in so many strange forms. Rather than to establish a school of philosophy which would dominate the world's thought, but nevertheless the original truths taught by him have been kept intact in their original purity by a few men each age, who, refusing great numbers of half-developed students and followers, followed the Hermetic custom and reserved their truth for the few who were ready to comprehend and master it. From lip to ear, the truth has been handed down among the few. There have always been a few initiates in each generation in the various lands of the earth who kept alive the sacred flame of the Hermetic teachings. And such have always been willing to use their lamps to relight the lesser lamps of the outside world. When the light of the truth grew dim and clouded by the reason of neglect, and when the wicks became clogged with foreign matter, there were always a few to tend faithfully the altar of truth, upon which was kept alight the perpetual lamp of wisdom. These men devoted their lives to the labor of love, which the poet has so well stated in his lines. Oh, let not the flame die out. Cherished age after age in its dark cavern, in its holy temples cherished, fed by pure ministers of love, let not the flame die out. These men have never sought popular approval, nor numbers of followers. They are indifferent to these things, for they know how few there are in each generation who are ready for the truth, or who would even recognize it were it presented to them. They reserve the strong meat for men, while others furnish the milk for babes. They reserve their pearls of wisdom for the few elect who recognize their value and who wear them in their crowns, instead of casting them before the materialistic vulgar swine who would trample them in the mud and mix them with their disgusting mental food. But still, these men have never forgotten or overlooked the original teachings of Hermes regarding the passing on of the words of truth to those who are ready to receive it, which teaching is stated in the Kybalion as follows. Where fall the footsteps of the master, the ears of those ready for his teaching open wide. And again, when the ears of the student are ready to hear, then cometh the lips to fill them with wisdom. But their customary attitude has always been strictly in accordance with the other Hermetic aphorism. Also in the Kybalion, the lips of wisdom are closed, except to the ears of understanding. There are those who have criticized this attitude of the Hermeticists and who have claimed that they did not manifest the proper spirit in their policy of seclusion and reticence. But a moment's glance back over the pages of history will show the wisdom of the masters, who know the folly of attempting to teach to the world that which it was neither ready or willing to receive. The Hermeticists have never sought to be martyrs and have instead sat silently aside with a pitying smile on their closed lips, while the heathen raged noisily about them in their customary amusement of putting to death and torture the honest but misguided enthusiasts who imagined that they could force upon a race of barbarians the truth capable of being understood only by the elect who had advanced along the path. And the spirit of persecution has not yet died out in the land. There are certain Hermetic teachings which, if publicly promulgated, would bring down upon the teachers a great cry of scorn and relievement. A cry of scorn and revilement from the multitude, who would again raise the cry of crucify, crucify. In this little world, we have endeavored to give you an idea of the fundamental teachings of the Kabbalion, striving to give you the working principles, leaving you to apply them to yourselves, rather than attempting to work out the teaching in detail. If you are a true student, you will be able to work out and apply these principles. If not, then you must develop yourself into one. For otherwise, the Hermetic teachings will just be as words, words, words to you. So that's a good intro there. I mean, I like that. It sounds like this is going to be right up our alley. But yeah, again, you know, if you're not ready for it, it's just going to go over your head anyway. Chapter 1, the Hermetic philosophy. From old Egypt have come the fundamental esoteric and occult teachings which have so strongly influenced the philosophies of all races, nations, and peoples. For several thousand years, Egypt, the home of the pyramids and the Sphinx, was the birthplace of the hidden wisdom and mystic teachings. From her secret doctrine, all nations have borrowed: India, Persia, Chaldea, Media, China, Japan, Assyria, ancient Greece, and Rome. And other ancient countries partook liberally at the feast of knowledge, which the Hierophants and the masters of the land of Isis so freely provided for those who came prepared to partake of the great store of mystic and occult lore which the masterminds of that ancient land had gathered together. In ancient Egypt dwelt the great adepts and masters who have never been surpassed and who have seldom been equaled. During the centuries that have taken their processional flight, since the days of the great Hermes, in Egypt was located the great lodge of lodges of the mystics. At the door of her temples entered the neophytes, who afterwards, as hierophants, adepts, and masters, traveled to the four corners of the earth, carrying with them precious knowledge, which they were ready, anxious, and willing to pass on to those who were ready to receive the same. All students of the occult recognize the debt that they owe to these venerable masters of that ancient land. But among these great masters of ancient Egypt, there once dwelt one of whom masters hailed as the master of masters. If this man, or man indeed he was, dwelt in Egypt in the earliest days, he was known as Hermes Trismegistus. He was the father of the occult wisdom, the founder of astrology, the discoverer of alchemy. The details of his life story are lost to history, owing to the lapse of the years, though several of the ancient countries disputed with each other in their claims to the honor of having furnished his birthplace, and this thousands of years ago. The date of his sojourn in Egypt in his last incarnation on this planet is not known, but it has been fixed at the early days of the oldest dynasties of Egypt. Long before the days of Moses, the best authorities regard him as a contemporary of Abraham. Yeah, Thoth. And some of the Jewish traditions go as far as to claim that Abraham acquired a portion of his mystic knowledge from Hermes himself. As the years rolled by after his passing from this plane of life, tradition recording that he lived 300 years in the flesh, the Egyptians defied Hermes and made him one of their gods under the name of Thoth. Years after, the people of ancient Greece, who made him one of their many gods, calling him Hermes, the god of wisdom, the Egyptians revered his memory for many centuries, yes, tens of centuries, calling him the scribe of the gods, and bestowing upon him distinctively the ancient title Trismegistus, which means the thrice great, the great, the greatest great, the thrice born, etc. In all the ancient lands, the name of Hermes Trismegistus was revered, the name being synonymous with the fount of wisdom. Even to this day, we use the term hermetic in the sense of secret, sealed so that nothing can escape, etc. And this by reason of the fact that the followers of Hermes always observed the principle of secrecy in their teachings. They did not believe in casting pearls before swine, but rather held to the teaching milk for babes, meaning meat for strong men, both of which maxims are familiar to readers of the Christian scriptures, both of which have been used by the Egyptians for centuries before the Christian era. And this policy of careful dissemination of the truth has always characterized the Hermetics, even into the present day. The Hermetic teachings are to be found in all lands, among all religions, but never identified with any particular country, nor with any particular religious sect. This because of the warning of the ancient teachers against allowing the secret doctrine to become crystallized into a creed. The wisdom of this caution is apparent to all students of history. The ancient occultism of India and Persia degenerated and was largely lost owing to the fact that the teachers became priests and so mixed theology with the philosophy, that the result being that the occultism of India and Persia has been gradually lost amidst the mass of religious superstition, cults, creeds, and gods. So it was with ancient Greece and Rome. So it was with the Hermetic teachings of the Gnostics and early Christians, which were lost at the time of Constantine, whose iron hand smothered philosophy with a blanket of theology, losing to the Christian church that which was its very essence and spirit, and causing it to grope throughout several centuries before it found its way back to its ancient faith. The indications apparent to all careful observers in this 20th century being that the church is now struggling to get back its ancient mystic teachings. But there were always a few faithful souls who kept alive the flame, tending it carefully, and not allowing its light to become extinguished. And thanks to these staunch hearts and fearless minds, we have the truth still with us. But it is not found in books to any great extent. It has been passed along from master to student, from initiate to hierophant, from lip to ear. When it was written down at all, its meaning was veiled in terms of alchemy and astrology so that only those possessing the key could read it aright. This was made necessary in order to avoid the persecutions of the theologians from the Middle Ages who fought the secret doctrine with fire and sword, stake, giblet, and cross. Even to this day, there will be found but few reliable books on the Hermetic philosophy, although there are countless references to it in many books written on various phases of occultism, and yet the Hermetic philosophy is the only master key which will open all of the doors of the occult's teachings. In the early days, there was a compilation of certain basic Hermetic doctrines passed on from teacher to student, which was known as the Kabbalion. The exact significance and meaning of the term have been lost for several centuries. This teaching, however, is known to many to whom it has descended from mouth to ear, on and on, throughout the centuries. Its precepts have never been written down or printed, so far as we know. It was merely a collection of maxims, axioms, and precepts which were non-understandable to outsiders, but which were readily understood by students after the axioms, maxims, and precepts had been explained and exemplified by the Hermetic initiates to their neophytes. These teachings really constituted the basic principles of the art of Hermetic alchemy, which, contrary to the general belief, dealt in the mastery of mental forces rather than material elements, or the transmutation of one kind of mental vibration into other, instead of the changing of one kind of metal into another. So it was dealing with, mental vibrations. The legends of the Philosopher's Stone, which would turn base metal into gold, was an allegory relating to Hermetic philosophy, readily understood by all students of true Hermeticism. In this little book, of which this is the first lesson, we invite our students to examine into the Hermetic teachings as set forth in the Kybalion, and is explained by ourselves, humble students of the teachings, who, while bearing the title of initiates, are still students at the feet of Hermes, the master. We herein give you many of the maxims, axioms, and precepts of the Kybalion, accompanied by explanations and illustrations which we deem likely to render the teachings more easily comprehended by the modern student, particularly as the original text is purposely veiled in obscure terms. The original maxims, axioms, and precepts of the Kybalion are printed herein in italics, with the proper credit being given. Our own work is printed in a regular way, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Great. I went from reading something to going in, giving us information. So that, according to the teachings, the passage of this book to those ready for the instruction will attract the attention of such as are prepared to receive the teaching. And likewise, when the pupil is ready to receive the truth, then this little book will come to him or her. Such is the law, the Hermetic principle of cause and effect. And its aspect of the law of attraction will bring lips and ear together, pupil and book in company. So mote it be. All right, so that's the chapter 1 of the Kybalion there. End of page 7, so we'll pick up on chapter 2, page 8 next time. This is the 7 Hermetic principles. This is good. We talked about this a couple of years ago, doing this on the show, but I'm glad we're able to start doing this now. It's pretty fun. You know, I know a lot of you out there like me are not big joiners. You know, you don't have to join a secret. I got news for you. You don't have to join a secret society to learn this stuff. You just have to want the information. You want to have to seek it. You have to seek it out and try to find it and do your best to understand it. So, let's have our own little personal mystery school religion induction here. Let's read this on the air and go through this ourselves and see what we think about it. We don't have to join somebody's group or, go be a member and wear their ring and, use the Masonic nut rag of Jabulon or anything like that. I mean, it's pretty exciting stuff. But anyway, we're going to leave it there for now. Again, this is our fundraising week. Tomorrow, the bills are coming up due. We got to have your support in here, folks, to pay the bills and get this done so we can be free and clear for the month on the bills. Got about 500 more to go. Please use the chipping banner there for that. Donate button for every other donation. See Right Volume 2 is up for sale under the documentary tabs at the website as well. TheGlobalReality.com is that website. And please get a DVD or make a donation so we can pay those bills, folks. My name is Josh Reeves, and I love each and every one of you. We'll see you next time for the show. You guys have a great night. Take care.